This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, it's hoped a new car park at Tomahawk will keep cars off the beach, preventing cars being stuck in the sand. Otago University's music department has moved out of Black Sail House after more than 3 decades. And Dunedin singer Sophie Morris entertains at rest homes across the city. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Melissa Barton. Efforts are being made to preserve Dunedin's beaches this summer. The Dunedin City Council and the Department of Conservation hope the implementation of signs and ranges at Dunedin beaches will preserve the local coastline for the public to enjoy.
Dunedin City Council staff are going to be upgrading the signs around local beaches such as Tomahawk to make the rules of what you can and can't do on the beach a bit clearer. Parks and Recreation Planner Stephen Hogg says it's important to keep vehicles off the beaches as much as possible.
We're so lucky in Dunedin to have such an amazing variety of beach spaces, and we're quite keen for users of those spaces to be involved in the conservation of them, and keeping vehicles off the beach is an important part of that. It's important for other users. It can be an annoyance. There's health and safety aspects to it, as well as the conservation of the animals, the wildlife that's using those beaches.
Vehicles have been banned from beaches such as this one since 2017, although that didn't stop the driver of this Ford Ranger ute from joyriding along the shore last year, eventually coming to grief in the soft sand. The council is hoping this newly upgraded car park at Tomahawk will encourage drivers to stay off the beach, except for the purpose of launching boats.
We're still allowing vehicles to launch boats and retrieve them. We do want other users to keep their vehicles off the beach, use the car parks and save the beach for people and wildlife.
Community rangers will be patrolling the beaches this summer, speaking to people about the importance of sharing beaches with each other and the wildlife.
We'll be running that for the 3rd time this summer, and that's going to involve having community rangers out on the beaches and in some of our reserve spaces, just to sort of a low-key early intervention approach where we can help educate users with bylaw information and wildlife information as well.
The upgraded car park at Tomahawk Beach will hopefully be finished and open to the public by early next week. In Dunedin, the South Today.
A woman who fell asleep at the wheel on Otago Peninsula was flown to Dunedin Hospital last night. The crash in Harrington Point Road was one of several crashes that kept Dunedin Police busy yesterday. Emergency services were called to Harrington Point just before 6 p.m. yesterday after an elderly female driver appeared to have fallen asleep at the wheel. Police say her car crossed the centre line and collided with a hedge, flipping the car onto its side. Both the driver and passenger were transported to hospital by rescue helicopter. Elsewhere, emergency services were called to South Dunedin just before 3:30 p.m. after a truck carrying hazardous goods was involved in a collision with a van and a car. For decades, music studies at the University of Otago have been taught out of Black Sail House, but this week the department finally moved into their new state-of-the-art facility.
Known as the gingerbread houses around campus, Black Sail House is one of the University of Otago's most iconic buildings. From 1983 until this week, it was the centre of the music department, and long-standing faculty member Peter Adams has many fond memories from his 31 years in the building, including pranking students.
My office had a little crawl door through onto the other side into Ian Chapman's office, and he would ring me on the phone occasionally and say, "I've got a student needs a little bit of advice, can you come over?" And I'd say, "I'll be right there." And I would then crawl through this little door and startle some poor student, and he'd know full well what was going to happen, of course. It was absolutely hilarious, so I'm going to miss that.
At 5 foot 11 inches, he also recalls having to duck to get through the padded throughway which connects the two houses. He estimates they've taught about 13 generations of students, many of whom have gone on to international fame, including soprano Annalise and conductor Tequin Evans.
They've all sent messages. So many students have sent little messages and stories of Sale Black House once they've heard that we're leaving, fond memories of it, particularly getting lost.
Adams says while he's sad to be leaving his teaching home of the last 3 decades, he's excited to be moving into the specially designed facility.
Oh, well, it's fantastic to have. We're now a school of performing arts with music, theatre and dance. And I think we're all feeling the sort of cross-fertilisation, if you like, the feeding each other with ideas. We have a Bachelor of Performing Arts degree now, which is a degree for music, theatre, dance, and show tunes and so forth come out of the place just as much as rock or classical.
Peter Adams understands another department is set to move into their old stomping ground, and he wishes them well. In Dunedin, the South Today.
If the National Party is elected next month, it will facilitate negotiations to keep the Tiwai Point aluminium smelter open. That's according to the party's leader Judith Collins, who's spoken in Invercargill today. The opposition leader says she wants to get Rio Tinto and power companies to achieve a more cost-competitive environment to save the plant. The party hopes this would keep the smelter in operation for at least another 5 years, while Southland prepares for the smelter's inevitable closure. Last week, Government Minister Grant Robinson confirmed the Labour government would not finance a bailout package, but he did say negotiations are ongoing. A group which coordinates artists and performers is fighting against the tough times brought about by COVID-19 while entertaining people who are in lockdown. Random acts of art have been popping up across Dunedin, and the woman coordinating the projects says today's events with local singer and South Today presenter Sophie Morris are making many people happy.
Bringing a wee bit of joy to rest home residents in lockdown. All rest homes are in level 4 lockdown due to the renewed threat from COVID-19. Dunedin-based musician Sophie Morris sings for residents of Yvette Williams Rest Home in Dunedin's Highgate and says it's important to spread the joy of music in these trying times.
And obviously this year has been very different for all of us. Nobody's been untouched by what's been happening in the world. So yeah, it's really a window of opportunity to bring music, to bring performance to places like Yvette Williams, like the retirement villages that we're visiting today, especially on this beautiful sunny day, to bring some music and to connect and share in art.
Today's sing-along is part of a series of events coordinated by Well Productions and Theatre Works, which producer Cindy Diver hopes can bring some fun to a world facing challenges.
We've created a 6-month program where every week something else will be happening, and we're using professional dancers, musicians like the lovely Sophie who sang for us today.
The performance at Yvette Williams was one in a series of shows around Dunedin's rest home facilities. Both Diver and Morris are pleased so many in the crowd were visibly moved by the songs.
Lovely to see an emotional response or just a happy response, but to see people really connect with that music is great.
And then there was this beautiful woman in the front row, because we went in their courtyard, and she was singing along with Sophie, and I cried because there's tears streaming down her face as she's singing along, tears down our face, and it was that sense of how art is such a great way of making people feel positive, amazing thoughts.
Diver says there are many more events planned in the coming months, including more public shows for when level 2 restrictions are lifted. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today, an animal rights group releases some distressing images resulting in an investigation by MPI in Southland, and we bring you Channel 39's You Choose 2020 series so you can be better informed on local and national politics. So see you after the break.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Wrens are Otago's painting, tiling and plastering experts. Offering a free measure and quote, Wrens is a name you can trust to get the job done right. Call Wrens today on 477 9384 or visit wrens.co.nz.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Sent Pet Cremations knows that losing a pet is like losing a family member, and we have many special ways for you to keep their memory dear to your heart. From caskets, remembrance pendants to remembrance fairs. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today.
Do you know Youth Grow in North East Valley? It's an awesome plant nursery where young people can work and learn life skills. You can now order your vegetable seedlings, herbs, bulbs and shrubs over the phone or by email. Either pick up your order on Norwood Street in North East Valley or they can deliver to you. Look for Youth Grow Garden Centre on Facebook or visit youthgrow.org.nz. Happy gardening!
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Welcome back. Police have located a white ute they believe is connected to a firearms incident in Alexandria yesterday. Police say the two occupants of the vehicle, a man and a woman, were seen repeatedly presenting a gun at an individual shortly before 5 p.m. yesterday. Those involved were known to each other and police believe there is no wider risk to the public. Police say they located a vehicle being sought in relation to the incident early this morning and are speaking to the parties involved. And a word of warning, the following story contains scenes of potential animal cruelty, which may upset some viewers. Yesterday, an animal rights group released the imagery of cows calving in winter grazing paddocks in Southland. The video showed the animals giving birth in muddy paddocks, as well as images of newly born calves lying in the mud. The footage was filmed from the roadside next to 5 different farms in Southland earlier this month. The activists say there are about 2 million animals in Southland and Otago and mud. These 5 farms are just an example. MPI says it is now aware of the footage and an investigation had started. However, MPI is disappointed it was not informed 3 weeks ago when the filming took place, so that it could have acted earlier. Over the last 2 weeks, we've brought you instalments from the Channel 39's community-produced You Choose 2020 series, so you can be better informed on both local and national political discussions. In this instalment, we asked local party representatives if they would support some alternative changes to cannabis laws.
I'd have to see what that change looked like, but I do think that prisons don't really work And we also know that there are massive equity issues around our Māori population, our tangata whenua in prisons. So the whole criminal justice system needs to be looked at, and where we can find ways to incentivise and support people rather than labelling and criminalising them, then that's what we need to do. There will always be an element that needs to spend time in prison for the safety of other people, but if we think prison rehabilitates people, that's baloney.
Well, Parliament's already sort of decriminalised the use of marijuana through the Misuse of Drug Amendment bill that they passed, I think, almost a year and a half ago. What that meant is police have the ability to basically take a health approach rather than arresting them. Now, whether that's working or not, I couldn't tell you, but I mean, from my political perspective, I'm a liberal on the sort of liberal conservative spectrum of the National Party, so I'm always for increasing freedoms. As I said, I think this particular piece of legislation is harmful. It doesn't address some of the real concerns we have around mental health and gangs, so I wouldn't be for this. If another piece of legislation came before the House or came before me, I'd have a look at it, but this one I'm not convinced at all that this will create the health benefits that it's purporting to do.
Yeah, well, I think that's the change I would like to see. I think our addiction services have got to get much better on the ground because often, it leads to other drugs which are worse. So, we just have to have better services on the ground. So that's the change I'd really like to see. I don't want to see a punitive approach to cannabis. I do want to see a health response, but not, in my view, going as far as legalising it.
I think there has to be some change because, as we said, prohibition isn't working. So there's no point carrying on with something that doesn't work. I mean, there is health concerns about it for younger people, and there's a whole raft of issues around it that I'm really not informed enough to make a decision on. But I think we have to look at a different way of handling it because the current system I don't think is working, and it's a waste of resources, chucking people in jail for essentially a victimless crime.
We do need to change the situation. The status quo is not working, and we've got an opportunity to make improvements here and now in this referendum.
And you can watch the full episode at odt.co.nz. After the break on The South Today, we have this week's rugby chat with Paul Dwyer, and we find out what the weather has in store for us this weekend, so catch this and more after the break.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality, stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
Do you know Youth Grow in North East Valley? It's an awesome plant nursery where young people can work and learn life skills. You can now order your vegetable seedlings, herbs, bulbs and shrubs over the phone or by email. Either pick up your order on Norwood Street in North East Valley or they can deliver to you. Look for Youth Grow Garden Centre on Facebook or visit youthgrow.org.nz. Happy gardening!
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Evening, I'm from the Parks Department. Have you got a permit for that fire?
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Step into Shop on Carol and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
Wrens are Otago's painting, tiling and plastering experts. Offering a free measure and quote, Wrens is a name you can trust to get the job done right. Call Wrens today on 477 9384 or visit wrens.co.nz. Heaven Sent Pet Cremations knows that losing a pet is like losing a family member, and we have many special ways for you to keep their memory dear to your heart. From caskets, remembrance pendants to remembrance spheres. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today.
Ah, TV, our favourite babysitter, but it can be tough keeping up with what our tamariki are watching. Luckily, the Broadcasting Standards Authority has made some smart changes to the classification labels. Ooh! Plus changes to the time of day certain rated shows will air, and awesome new parental lock features, meaning your babysitter's job is safe. Find out more at safeviewing.co.nz.
Thanks for staying with us. One spot remains in the race for a top 6 finish in this year's Dunedin Premier Club Rugby competition. This week, ODT Rugby Chat's Paul Dwyer speaks to Joe Kearns from Southern and Alhambra Union's Jonah Nariki ahead of their club's must-win games this weekend.
Right, so what happened on the weekend? There was big games all over the weekend. There was a lot of close results, and right now it's come down to it's either Southern or it's Alhambra Union will make the top 6 after this weekend's game. Everybody else is confirmed. So to that end, I've got Joe Kearns, the hooker from Southern, and I've got Jonah Nariki, who needs no introduction because he played his first game for Alhambra Union for about 10 years at the weekend. Also an Otago player this year, and also had a pretty good season for the Highlanders. And we'll talk about what their chances are of making this final top 6. So, mate, Joe, you weren't playing on the weekend, and you've got a cast on, so why weren't you playing?
Yeah, I've got a broken finger and had surgery 3 weeks ago.
So you're out?
Yeah, I'm out for the season.
I was just saying to you on the way up the stairs, you could throw on with your other hand as a hooker?
Yeah, it just probably wouldn't be that straight.
So, and Jonah will bring you in, mate. So that was your first game. When was the last time you played for Alhambra Union?
2017 was my last
So 3
game.
years ago?
Yeah, 3 years ago.
So since then you've been playing sevens?
Yep.
Is it basically the sevens has kept you out, is it?
Yes, so 2 years with sevens, and then this my year with the Landers.
So look, just quickly, you've come onto the scene as a Highlander. This is your first full year for the Highlanders. It wasn't a full season, but you've had a first full year for the Highlanders. I mean, you must be pretty happy with the way your season went. Did you get enough minutes?
Yes.
You never get enough minutes, but did you get enough minutes?
Yes, I did. I felt comfortable with the minutes I got, the more confident I got to play. Just being happy to be out there.
It's come down to crunch time for you boys. Now you're 3 points ahead of Alhambra Union. So if Alhambra Union beat beat Harbour on the weekend, they could go to 20 or 21, depending on bonus points. You guys are on 19, and 1 point won't be enough because if these guys win, they beat you guys. So therefore, you'll still be out. So look, this is a big game for Southern, isn't it?
We've got nothing to lose now, I think. Obviously we do got something to lose, but we're just playing a wee bit in our shell. We've just got to sort of our backs. We've just got to fire.
So Alhambra Union, you've got them at home though, haven't you? So they're playing at the North Ground.
Yep.
They're quite a big. They're like Harbour. They're quite big. They're big. So what are you got to do do you have to match them up front because you've certainly got skills out wide?
Yeah, exactly. I think we do have to match them out wide and outplay them as well.
Yeah.
Up front, the forward pack, I guess they are a big forward pack. So getting our skill sets right, we could definitely put them away on the wings. So I guess just backing our skills like the Southern boys.
The full episode of this week's ODT Rugby Chat will play tonight after the 7:30 bulletin or can be watched anytime on the ODT website. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South today. It is hoped a new car park at Tomahawk will keep cars off the beach, preventing cars from being stuck in the sand. Otago University's music department has moved out of Black Sail House after more than 3 decades of rocking their gingerbread house. And Dunedin singer Sophie Morris entertains at rest homes across the city as part of a wider arts initiative. And now look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. Welcome, Hayden Meikle. What have you got for us in tomorrow's paper?
Good evening, Mel. Well, it's a Saturday, so of course that means there's lots and lots and lots of good stuff. Far too many good things to mention, really, so let's just stick to three important things
Okay,
tomorrow
your top
to look
three
out
for tomorrow.
A great yarn on the front page about a land girl. Now, you, of course, are a land girl, aren't you, Mel?
Yes, well and truly.
Very famously, they called them the woman who kept New Zealand running during World War II. So men away fighting, the woman who worked the farms, who mustered the sheep, who did all of those jobs. And we're talking to Sadie, a 97-year-old land girl, still very independent in Central Otago, looking back on her memories of that time. It's a cracking yarn from Sally Ray, should be really well read. And what also will be well read, I think, is the final part in our euthanasia series. So the other big referendum, along with cannabis this year. Tomorrow's our final part, a page of opinions, really. People in favour, people against. We've given people all the information and we now want people to make an informed decision, so that should be really interesting. And finally, I just want to mention our obituaries page tomorrow. I don't often mention our obituaries page, but tomorrow it's dedicated to a very special man at the Otago Daily Times, Robin Charteris, who was the editor of the ODT, employed me, which shows he was a very smart man. Great bloke, Robin, and we've got some lovely tributes to him in our obituaries page tomorrow.
Lovely, thanks for that, and you can catch all of that in tomorrow's ODT. And now it's time for a look at tomorrow's weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the Southern View, Dunedin singer Sophie Morris entertains residents of Yvette Williams Rest Home. Looking at the situation, a strong westerly airflow will blow over the region this weekend, with rain and showers in the west, mostly fine weather in the east. Starting at the northwest of the South Island, scattered showers for the area with 14 degrees in Greymouth and 13 in Westport. Across to the northeast, Nelson can expect cloudy skies and 17, while Blenheim can expect a nice day with 18 degrees. Moving to Canterbury, Christchurch and Ashburton can expect partial cloud and 18 degrees, while Kaikoura can expect cloudy skies and 17. Looking at the southern towns, strong westerlies and skies becoming fine. The Catlins, Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore should all reach a high of 14. In central, all areas can expect light westerlies and fine conditions. Wanaka, Alexandria and Queenstown should reach 15 degrees, while Tiana is in line for 12 degrees and showers. In the northern towns on the coast, Timaru and Oamaru can expect moderate westerlies and fine conditions with 17 degrees. Inland Twizel and Amarama can expect fresh westerlies, clear conditions and 16 degrees. And in Dunedin, showers and southwesterlies tonight with an overnight low of 4. Showers clearing tomorrow morning and weather becoming fine. A high of 14 and a low of 7, so you can get out and mow those lawns. Milder on Sunday with fresh westerlies, sunny periods and high cloud. Looking at a really nice high of 17 and a low of 9. And in Invercargill, showers tonight with fresh southwesterlies and an overnight low of 5. Showers clear tomorrow and sunny periods increase during the day with fresh cold southwesterlies easing. Looking at a high of 12 and a low of 6. And strong to near gale force northwesterlies develop on Sunday with cloud increasing and some rain later in the day. Looking at a high of 15 and a low of 10. And that's all for our news for this Friday and indeed the week. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz or follow Channel 39 online. Thanks for joining us. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.